A very good morning, everyone. Welcome to StudyIQ English. Welcome to the Hindu News Analysis segment today for 31st October 2025. Finally, the last day of a very, very eventful month. And that's also the reason why in 1 or 2 days I will also come up with the entire October month current affairs revision that will help us in analyzing exactly what all important news events have we been analyzing throughout the month of October. And on that note, let us look at today's important news items. All these are UPSC associated news events. Okay, so from 31st October's newspaper, that's today, from the Hindu New Delhi edition, here are about 8 news articles that I have picked up for you. As always, the first 2 articles are the editorial page articles because I think my students by now know that we always begin with the editorial. For the fact that editorial articles are lengthy and more complex. Hence, they need more time. We always start with that. Today, the newspaper is dominated by 2 main themes. One, of course, is AI, artificial intelligence. And second is about the Ekta Divas. That's very important. And then, of course, there is another development. As the world leaders have been negotiating with each other on the sidelines of the APEC summit in South Korea, President Trump and the Chinese leader are once again trying to boost their bilateral relationship. It's a very clear-cut deal from US to China. The message is keep on supplying the rare earth material. The world needs them. In return, what do you get? Yes, we will revise the tariff that we imposed on you. So that's the kind of sentiment that's raging through the newspaper today. And as I said last time, since today I will not be able to engage with the live chat box, but I know that my daily aspirants, those who are very passionate about the discussion, must be here. So a huge welcome to all of you. Lots of love and blessing to all of you. And tomorrow, I will be back with a live chat. And from tomorrow onwards, every day, the same format, lots of discussion, lots of talking, lots of interaction. Okay, so let's look at the first news article for the day then. And this is page number, I just told you, yes, page number 10, editorial page. The article is about AI, artificial intelligence, its application in the field of education. So definitely this is GS paper 2 because education towards vulnerable communities, public education, is a concept that's covered in GS paper 2 also and GS paper 1 also, Indian society. And this article talks about how today AI is rewriting the trajectory of education system in India. The writer says that as India is trying to become the Viksit Bharat by 2047, a key pillar of this is skilling and education side by side. But today, everywhere there is AI, artificial intelligence. So, education cannot also be kept away from that for a long time. And the Indian government, anyway, has a very ambitious plan. And all of this started in 2020, the National Education Policy, the NEP 2020. Yesterday, also, we have spoken about the NEP. If you remember, my dear, we discussed how states like Kerala and Tamil Nadu have been complaining that because they did not want to implement the NEP, the central government was withholding funds to them under Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan. The government really wants these states to adopt the NEP, to adopt the PM Shri scheme, the model school scheme. And therefore, Kerala has recently agreed to adopt the PM Shri initiative. That's about modernization and upgrading of some schools in the state. Right? So again, NEP is in news. It's quite a revolutionary program of education by the Indian government. Some key pillars of NEP are: one, to provide good deal of learning in vocational skills, because India wants to now become Atmanirbhar. So skilling is very important across various vocational domains. Next comes the importance being given to mother tongue. So yes, the native vernacular languages can be used now until 8th grade for children to promote all round, inclusion of children from various regions in India. And the third is about modernizing the education structure, computer mediated learning, IT enabled learning. And for that reason, The government of India recently announced that right from class 3rd, right from the grade 3 at school level, the government will make AI learning important, AI learning compulsory. Right from grade 3, children will be taught artificial intelligence based modules, and this will be implemented from the academic year 2026 to 2027. Quite in line with the policy of the NEP. What's the aim? The aim is to transform Indian education by mainstreaming artificial intelligence across K to 12 curriculum, right from the primary school right until grade 12th. Now AI will be mainstreamed. It will be a part of the main curriculum like other conventional subjects. It will enable personalized learning. It will enable using AI tools to improve teacher qualification, teacher learning programs. Also, under this policy, over 10,000 teachers in India are already under training. They have been trained. Some of them are still getting trained right from 2019 onwards. The government has begun training these teachers into using and teaching AI tools. What is the benefit of this policy? Do you think there is any benefit of integrating AI with mainstream education? Do you think it makes any sense? Yes, in some ways, because we know that in India we have a very young population. Time and again, you and I have spoken about the youth bulge of Indian population. Average Indian is 28 years old. A very young population indeed. But still, majority of us are not employable. We do not get the jobs in the world market, in the job market of the world. Reason? Jobs might be there in the service sector, like online platforms, education, health. But the problem is people are not qualified enough to do those jobs. That's a structural gap. It's called structural unemployment. We don't have the right skills of the modern economy. And that's the reason the government feels introducing AI from the beginning of school might create more skill readiness, might create employability among children through AI driven concepts like logic, algorithms, data literacy. This will enable the children to adopt and to adapt towards a new automation driven job market. A lot of people are saying that very soon many jobs will be lost. A lot of jobs that need human labor, they may be completely outdated now because the job markets are also automating very fast. All of it is working on automation. So if children are getting AI tools, some kind of a language learning training from the beginning, large language models, machine learning, AI, algorithm, it's good for them. They might get more and better white collar jobs. That's one argument. Second argument is that AI adaptive platforms is also very good to customize content. For example, you can provide quick feedback to the student. You can conduct large scale exams for the students using AI. You can also reduce school dropouts. Why school dropouts? Because many children who live in remote areas, say the tribal areas, the village areas, mountain areas, who find it difficult to access good public schools. For them, AI can create online school, online learning mechanism. So less dropout rate. Another thing is AI tools can be used to customize education. Now let's understand all students are not the same. If you are aware, there are certain learning difficulties, learning disabilities that many students face. For example, some children cannot read properly. Dyslexia. Some cannot write properly. Dysgraphia. Some cannot use numbers. They find it very difficult to learn, understand quantity of numbers, time, money. Dyscalculia. You see, learning disabilities are also diverse neurological conditions, okay? And AI tools can enable a curriculum that suits the need of all these segments of children, thereby making education inclusive, reducing the dropout rate. Third thing is automation will also help teacher because teachers are also wasting too much time in routine jobs like correcting the copies, registering attendance, grading the students, making elaborate content every day. So all this burden will be reduced and the teachers can then focus upon pedagogical improvement. They can work upon methods of teaching, interaction with the students, mentorship of the students, a psychosocial bond with the student, rather than keep doing routine tasks. That's going to revolutionize. For example, a case study is there in India's government schools. When we talk about the midday meal scheme, it's a very good scheme, of course. But the problem is that majority of government teachers are involved in these activities. Election census data collection, surveys, government policy awareness programs, preparing, distributing, making logistics of midday meal schemes. It's a waste of time. Core time available for teaching becomes very reduced. And that's how AI is going to help us. Another thing is you can also reach out to students in multiple languages. Now, AI will provide you a diverse language platform. So people from various regions will also be included in education, and that too on an online basis. That's amazing. And then AI generated content, AI generated curriculum will also be extremely bias free. We will not see any kind of linguistic bias, any kind of psychological bias by a teacher. It could create to project based learning. This is known as kinesthetic learning. This is a new good word we can learn. Kinesthetic learning. What is kinesthetic? When a student touches and explores the learning material. For example, rather than just giving a lecture-based approach, allow the student to experiment with various project-based materials and then find out the real solution. And that's a great way of learning. Learning with exploring and touching. That's called kinesthetic. And AI can enable that kinesthetic-based modules also. So all these are very good things. But are there some challenges here? Yes. According to this article, teaching about 1 crore teachers in India, training 1 crore teachers across the whole country is not going to be an easy task. So across India, if we are to train and teach 1 crore teachers, it needs a lot of time, it needs a lot of investment. It needs teachers to become hands-on in AI tools, and the training has to be ongoing to keep up with automation of the job market. It cannot be a one-time education like it is today. It has to be an ongoing training for the teachers also. Plus, the teachers will also have to change from teaching theory to teaching application-based ideas, to teaching conceptual clarity-based lessons. There is another problem. In India, we talk about digital divide, the persistent problem of rural-urban digital divide. Now, recently, if you remember, last month I had made a video on how there are some tribals in Jharkhand, the Birhor tribes, who for the first time received a proper electricity connection. And this is in 2025. Imagine a group of people who are living without electricity supply. In such situation, to imagine that people across India, various states, various regions can adopt to AI learning is a very ambitious plan. Yes, there is a lack of electricity flow. There is a lack of internet connectivity. Data is still unaffordable to many people. There is a lack of awareness about various tools to get seamless internet connectivity. That's called digital divide. So here some states might benefit. For example, Kerala is 100% digitally literate. But that's not true for most other states. Okay, so digital divide will also determine access to AI tools, and therefore it will cause inequality in education right from the beginning. Another issue is that classroom AI will collect data from the student. Naturally, if we are mediating learning through IT systems, internet, technology, AI will collect students' data, name, gender, caste, religion, photographs, all of that will be taken. Now, children can be at the risk of data abuse. Their profile can also be misused. It can lead to cyber crimes. It can lead to some kind of online lack of safety for all these children. Because until we have very, very strong data protection laws and regulation, proper control of data leakage, it is a risk of surveillance, profiling, misuse of minority and minor data. Children's data is very unsafe. So poor economic connect is also another concern. For example, if teachers are not experienced in using AI tools proficiently, then it's very unlikely that they can teach children the exact content that is supposed to be learned for a given age group. So that's another problem. The teacher cannot become very creative or innovative here. Because if the curriculum is designed by AI, then there is very little teacher can do to add her own experience and inputs. So these are certain problems. Is there a solution? Yes. The article says one solution can be, do not directly implement this policy. Go for a very, very phased rollout plan. Go for a very, very step-by-step rollout plan. For example, first implement at pilot stage, then evaluate. How are the outcomes coming? Evaluation is important. After evaluate, you decide to scale up the project. Suddenly do not implement it across the whole country. You can start by just a small experiment, see how it works, and then slowly lead to adaptation. Critical regions are there in India which experience low learning outcomes. Tribal, rural areas, village areas. We have to make sure AI learning doesn't create further inequalities for these people. They are not further marginalized. Plus, blend online curriculum with in-person mentorship. Now, imagine that the whole education is outsourced to AI. Then the emotional connect between teacher and student, how about that? The way teachers encourage their students, the way teachers promote critical and imaginative thinking, the way they share their experiences to make the life of a child a better one. All that get compromised if learning is totally computer based. So that is again an area. A middle path is very important. Perhaps the curriculum can be AI designed, but still in-person mentorship cannot be compromised. And we also must mandate regional content also. Languages have to be vernacular too. It cannot only be in English. That will further lead to alienation of people who find it difficult to adapt to English curriculum. So regional language is very crucial here. Strong protection for child-centric data. Strong protection against data leakage and surveillance. All these are important, and minimal data collection. The admission can happen on the basis of certain documents. And aggressive data collection is not exactly needed, which is later under the risk of being exploited by corporates. Okay, so that's what the article is talking about, the pros and cons of AI in education. Now, quickly the question, with reference to India's plan to introduce artificial intelligence in education in schools, look at the following statements. 1. The Ministry of Education plans to introduce AI learning from class 3 onwards, from academic year 26 to 27 under NEP, National Education Policy 2020. Second, the AI framework aims only to teach coding and programming skills to students. And 3, one of the objectives of this initiative is to promote personalized and inclusive learning through AI-driven adaptive platforms. So which of these are correct? I'm sure most of you will be answering immediately because it's an easy question and you can self-verify the answer from the last slide as well. And now the next article quickly, again page number 10 editorial, and we are talking about the age-old debate. Infrastructure conservation versus rights of the tribals, rights of the forest dwelling community. Yesterday, I have also released a video. It will be released, I think, today or tomorrow. There is another video I have made on Satkosia Tiger Reserve in Odisha. Why I made that video? Because it's an excellent case study. Satkosia in Odisha. A debate has erupted there. Now, the Odisha Human Rights Commission has blamed the forest and revenue officers for not ensuring adequate relocation and rehabilitation or compensation also to the tribals and the forest dwelling people who were moved out of the region after the Satkosia Tiger Reserve was expanded. But that's nothing new in India. All these debates are very common. The classical ethical debate. So more than being a part of GS Paper 3 environment, more than being a part of GS Paper 2 vulnerable communities like tribals, their rights, it is every bit a part of GS Paper 4. It's a classical ethical debate in India that we often have, on which you get case studies every single year in UPSC, that how to mediate the problem of violation of tribal rights, forest dwelling community rights when it comes to infrastructure expansion in India. So, what is this article talking about? The article is actually celebrating, it's very happy about a recent initiative taken by the Union Ministry of Tribal Affairs. That's the Union Tribal Ministry. It has taken a new initiative. Under this new initiative, the ministry has said it is very obsolete, it is very age old to look at tribal rights versus infrastructural development. It doesn't make any sense if you see them as polar opposites. So the ministry has said rather than asking the forest dwellers, tribals, to go out of the buffer zone, to go out of the area where tiger conservation reserves are being made, we can allow both humans and the wildlife to coexist with each other by making sure we provide adequate safety and by making sure we are utilizing the local community's knowledge, local community's experience in protecting these tigers. So rather than create a battle that comes wildlife protection and tribal rights are gone away. Rather than have that kind of a conflict based situation, let's have a consensus based situation where the tribals and the forest dwellers are together responsible for protecting the wildlife. This is the new policy initiative by Tribal Affairs Ministry. It says forest dwellers are the stakeholders. They are not encroachers. They are not trespassers. They are every bit inhabitants, and therefore they can create a major contribution in tiger conservation. This is a great change for a country like India where the debate has always been between the protocols of NTCA, National Tiger Conservation Authority versus the forest dwellers. National Tiger Conservation Authority versus the Forest Rights Act 2006, the age-old debate that to protect the tiger population, make people relocate. And today we understand it's a very faulty policy. Even in Satkosia, the same problem is happening. As people were evacuated from the region, the local communities then are treated as trespassers and outsiders. It's not a good thing to suddenly pull them out of their age-old livelihood-based community, their inhabitation, their house. And that doesn't make any sense. So that's why today the new policy is rather than NTCA under Project Tiger, a very important project it undertakes to protect and to save critical endangered tiger populations across India, rather than NTCA and Project Tiger asking the forest dwellers to leave. Today, we will work together with support of the local communities. In the past times, the NTCA under the Project Tiger has always protected the tigers. And how has it protected? It has saved the tigers with the objective of creating an inviolable and a specific dedicated core zone for the tigers. Under this specific dedicated core zone, it is considered that no human can come inside. No human can trespass here. It is an inviolable area, only dedicated for tiger preservation, a core protection area. So immediately people who are living there will have to step out. But under the Forest Right Act 2006, we understand that individual communities or group of people, they have a right to the forest for their livelihood and their habitat rights. They are also important because they have lived here for a very long time. To preserve tiger population and to relocate these people randomly, it is again an abuse of human rights. It is absolutely against Article 21, the right to life. So that also cannot be done. The issue of village relocation from the specific core area of tiger protection, critical habitats of tigers, has always been a debatable one, therefore. Because why Wildlife Protection Act and the NTCA, both of these guidelines allow rehabilitation. They allow people to be removed. They allow some kind of displacement. But under the FRA, such displacement cannot be done until the entire FRA process is complete, until entire Protocols regarding compensation, rehabilitation have been met. Nobody can be forced. Nobody can be forcefully thrown out, right? So there is a controversy. The NTCA, the National Tiger Conservation Authority, and the Wildlife Protection Act of India, they allow rehabilitation. They in fact encourage people to go out because they want specific protection zone for the animal. But the problem is the implementation of this often leads to ruthless displacement without people actually getting the adequate compensation, without them giving proper consent also. And that doesn't make sense. Even in the case of Great Nicobar, same problem is happening. Local communities like Champagne and Nicobari say our consent was never taken before the project was initiated. So such things are very common in India, right? So today the new approach is a very good one, because under the new approach, we do not believe in the fortress approach anymore. What do we not believe in? We do not believe in the fortress conservation approach anymore. That create an exclusive core buffer area called as a fortress. Such a protected one that nobody can come inside and everybody will be removed, irrespective of who they are. Today, we are moving away from this approach. Today, we believe poor communities, tribal communities living inside or near the forest cannot be randomly relocated until FRA, Forest Right Act process is completed. It is shifting the focus from fortress-based conservation to a participatory conservation, where local communities will now support wildlife protection. They will also patrol. They will also do monitoring. They will also do surveillance. They will also inform the government if they feel any unusual activity is happening. So these conservation efforts are community based, and hence they can also lead to control poaching and managing the forest resources better. That's one thing. Another thing is the policy also talks about implementing POA, Prevention of Atrocity Act. So under the new policy, the government also wants that if any tribal community is forced to relocate, if it is forced to be removed from this area to protect the conservation reserve for tigers, it will be considered under Protection of Civil Rights, Prevention of Atrocities for Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Act 2015, earlier 1989. It will be considered as a violation of scheduled tribal communities, a punishable offense. Okay, in case the displacement has been done in an unlawful manner. Why? Because now relocation will be only used as an exceptional situation, not as a routine method, as an exceptional situation, not as a routine method. Only in the case of emergency, when there is no other solution, can these communities be relocated. Otherwise, they will not be relocated. Is there a challenge in implementing this policy? Yes. The challenge is that some environmental protection workers, some environmentalists, some observers, they are arguing that tigers are the apex predators. They are the topmost predators. They need a lot of area to move around. It's important for their breeding practices, important for them to hunt and predate over smaller animals. Important to them because they are territorial animals. So by allowing a coexistence of human and tigers, perhaps it might lead to some kind of human-animal conflict on a daily basis. It may not be a very safe idea. Because if tigers are highly territorial, they display a highly territorial behavior, then coexistence may lead to violence, human-animal conflict, and it may trigger poaching. It may trigger killing of these tigers. It may lead to human life loss. It may also lead to habitat fragmentation for these tigers to freely move around. That's very dangerous precedent. Many times the tigers may just invade human territories. It may lead to livestock attack, quite like the debate in Kerala about how wild elephants keep on invading into crops, into agriculture lands, because Kerala is very densely vegetated. So most of the rural communities are living very close to wildlife corridors. Something similar is happening here. It may lead to killing of these animals. It may lead to a devastation of poultry, livestock population. It may lead to human-tiger conflict at a much larger scale. Plus, coordination between Ministry of Tribal Affairs, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, plus State Forest Department, Human Rights Commission, all these will be a tedious process. You cannot let 5 to 6 ministries and agencies keep coordinating on a quick basis. Very difficult to do. In fact, we can take a lesson from the Gaj Rakshak app. I have spoken about it with you in the past. To protect the elephants, the use of AI enabled automatic cameras and automatic servers that enable people to monitor the movement of elephants just through their smartphones or online. That's a much better solution. But immediately creating a lack of physical space between tigers and humans is an idea that's not very welcome to most of the environmental activists. Plus, even the Satkosia example says the same thing. You won't believe in 2018, the government implemented a very experimental plan. In 2018, about two tigers were relocated from Bandhavgarh National Park in Madhya Pradesh to Satkosia in Odisha. But what happened? One of the tigers somehow got in conflict with a village resident. And ultimately, the tiger had to be captured. The other tiger also died. So, human proximity sometimes may pose danger for wildlife as well as humans. And ultimately, the translocation project of tigers in 2018 at Satkosia was a failure. It did not work out. So, therefore, before we experiment with such radical ideas, a much better experimentation is important because it could lead to risk as well. Although it's a good approach, community involvement is any day good, but still it should not come at a risk of human life or even for that matter, wildlife existence. So now the question, with reference to India's recent policy framework on tiger conservation issued by the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, look at the following statements. One, the policy emphasizes relocation of forest dwelling communities from tiger reserves. It cannot be carried out until the rights of these people are met under the Forest Right Acts 2006. They should be fully recognized before relocation. Two, it promotes a model of fortress conservation, a closed protection model that excludes all human habitation from core tiger habitats. And three, the policy invokes provisions of SCST, Prevention of Atrocities Act, 1989, 2015, 2019, to safeguard forest communities from unlawful evictions. Which of these statements are correct? Very easy question. I'm sure you must have answered. I'll come and check it. Okay, now quickly, the next article. Now, the next article is a quick news. Yes, very important. GS Paper 2, Polity and Governance. It says Justice Suryakant will now be taking over as India's 53rd Chief Justice of India. Quite an important development because recently the Supreme Court has been in the news many times. Last month it was in the news because of the high pending case load. More than 80,000 cases still pending in front of the collegium. Despite the fact that today the collegium is working to its full strength. We have about 34 judges already in the Supreme Court. Second, it made news. It was under controversy when two senior judges from Uttar Pradesh and Gujarat were nominated. They were promoted to Supreme Court. And that's when the only lady judge from Supreme Court, Justice Nagaratna, objected to it, saying that it is a breach of hierarchy, plus it also violates the principle of regional participation, with some states getting too much representation while others none. Third time, the Supreme Court has also been in the news as people are saying perhaps Justice Nagaratna, when she becomes the CJI, will be the first woman Chief Justice of India. People were also collaborating this with Nepal development. As Ms. Sushila Karki took over as Prime Minister, she was also the first CJI of Nepal. So women empowerment was also being associated with that. Today again the Supreme Court is in news, but now because Justice Suryakant will be taking over as the 53rd Chief Justice of India, he will be doing this from 24th November onwards. Okay, and he will remain the Chief Justice of India for nearly about 6 months. Now, earlier also, he made a mark by achieving the distinction of being appointed as the youngest Advocate General of Haryana, also a senior advocate, all this in 2000. Okay, now he also served on governing body of the NALSA, the National Legal Services Authority in India in 2007. He was also Chief Justice of Himachal Pradesh High Court in 2018. Later, he became promoted to the Supreme Court as a Supreme Court Judge of India in 2019 and today going to be the 53rd Chief Justice of India. So let's remember that. Okay. The next news again is a quick one. The central government has clarified that there is nothing to worry about the Great Nicobar project. Today, as so many tribal communities, tribal councils of the Great Nicobar Island, communities like Shompen and Nicobari community have voiced their concern about this project. So have the concerns been among environmental activists. All of these people say that the project is a very ill thought of project. It means about 13,000 hectares of forest will be removed from the Great Nicobar, posing a major danger to biodiversity. Habitats of animals like the olive ridley turtle and many other endemic species. This will lead to deforestation, a decline in air quality. Definitely, it will lead to relocation and displacement of the local tribal communities. People have objected, saying that the government cannot justify removing these many acres of forest by saying that we will implement CAMPA instead, the Compensatory Forest Act, under which instead of the Great Nicobar, we will just make up for this deforestation in Nicobar by planting some trees in Haryana. But for people, it is a very senseless idea. It's not going to have any benefit. That's the complaint that's coming. But the government of India has once again justified the Great Nicobar project for two reasons. One, the government says it is a need for India because right now India is working towards blue economy to improve its presence in the strategic Indian Ocean and Indo-Pacific area. So for India to have a project in the Great Nicobar will be an excellent situation, an excellent achievement in order to keep monitoring other critical places like the Strait of Malacca. It will also provide India alternate port and it will reduce the dependence of the world population on traditional ports like Colombo and the Singapore port, the port in Singapore. So it will be good for India. India can also take some part of that traffic away. Then the government also says India's strategic presence in the region will also improve, not just about Strait of Malacca, but also about India being present in an area where otherwise China's domination is very supreme. So the government says it is strategically very crucial. Plus, the government has also promised that no tribals will be displaced. And in case people will have to relocate, they will be given adequate compensation and some rehabilitation. So that's what the government is saying. And when it defends the Great Nicobar Island, the government also says that it is fully aware what impact will it have on the tribal people and the surrounding areas. The government is also saying that we will take care that this 92,000 crore rupees project will not impact or endanger the life of the local Nicobari and Championese community, both of which are recognized PVTGs, particularly vulnerable tribes of India. But the petitions against this move also say that this project, the Great Nicobar, it also overlaps areas like the Galathea Bay. Areas like the Galathea Bay and the Great Nicobar National Park area will also get impacted. After all, it is the dense forested zone. Overlapping this project with the Galathea Bay region again means complete ecological disaster. Plus, the area is also prone to earthquake. It is a tectonically sensitive, vulnerable area. So the risk of tsunami, earthquake is also paramount. So that's why as people are criticizing, the government keeps on promoting its stand. The government says we have taken care of various protocols under NGT, National Green Tribunal. We are also taking care of Coastal Regulation Zone Notifications Protocol. So we are not breaching any protocol. But the people still say that it will lead to translocation of about 16 to 20,000 coral colonies also. So coral colonies will also be impacted and which are very, very important. So as per people, as per environmentalists, 4,500 coral colonies will be severely devastated by this move of the government. But the government still says that no, all environmental protocols are being taken care of and the local communities are also being spoken to. That's the controversy. Now quickly the question with reference to the Great Nicobar Island Development Project that envisages a transshipment port, an airport, a power station, and some residential area as well. Consider the following statements. One, the project aims to develop port, township, airport complex, power plant, all this in the southern part of Great Nicobar Island. Two, the project is lying in the Great Nicobar Biosphere Reserve, which includes both the Campbell Bay as well as the Galicia Bay National Park. 3. The project is being implemented by National Highways Authority of India under the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. Quite an easy one. You can just tell me which of these are valid answer. And if you have any doubts, we can clarify tomorrow. Now, next article is about how US and China are reworking on their friendship agenda. Initially, the trade war between US and China has been going on since 2018-2019. There is nothing new in that. It just became more ugly in 2025 as US President, in his wave of protectionism, America First policy, kept on imposing high tariffs on all the countries. China was no exception. China was also slapped with a tariff of initially about 143%. Later, as the negotiation happened between US and China, the US President agreed to bring this down to mere 30%. While for India, there was no such change, for China, it was reduced. But once again, very recently, as China said that I will create some export control on rare earth element, REE, rare earth materials, a key input that goes in the manufacturing of solar batteries, photovoltaic cells, semiconductors, electronic vehicles, wind turbine magnets, as well as smartphones and computers. China said, I will control the export of this. And that once again made President Trump really angry. He said, not only will I just reimpose the high tariff on you, I will also increase that tariff limit to about 150% and more. A clear-cut war happened. But today, as the APEC summit has been just in process in South Korea, US President finally has agreed to negotiate with the Chinese leader. So both President Trump and Chinese leader Xi have now agreed to settle the trade war with each other. It's a clear-cut promise. America promised that I will give you tariff concession, but you in return will have to keep on supplying the flow of rare earth materials without any reduction in that. And both of them have agreed. China says, okay, I will supply the rare earth material, and US says, fine, I will reduce your tariff. So that's what is the new development, and both of them are celebrating this as the great grand success. US President also said that I had imposed tariff on China because of drug being smuggled into US. And that is something I was not okay with. But today, I will reduce the tariff from about 20% on fentanyl to about, say, 10%. He also said that China and US will extend 1-year deal on China's supplying rare earth material to US, which is used in America across many industries. So now China has finally agrees to remove export restrictions on REMs. Now this news also reminds me quickly of India and Australia's partnership. Recently, both India and Australia have also signed a memorandum of understanding where Australia will provide us the rare earth material and India will invest in that through training human power for better mining and processing. Because Australia, apart from China and Chile, has some huge reserves of REMs. In India also we have these reserves in some place in northern India. Which place is that? I know you will know the answer. Which place is that? But India lacks mining and refining manpower, plus valid environmental permissions. So if we work on that, India also can little bit become self-reliant when it comes to REMs, the rare earth metals or materials. Now the next news says India gets a 6-month waiver for Iran port. Again, US sanctions are coming in the picture. Now India and Iran have had a great relationship, not just trade but also cultural. So therefore, India has been associated with the Chabahar port in Iran since 2005, a long association between the two countries. Both countries jointly also agreed to develop the Shahid Beheshti port in the Chabahar port area. That was a commitment. How will it help India? Definitely, it will help India in providing better connectivity through Afghanistan and into the West Asian countries without having to depend on Pakistan in any way. So for India, it's a very good opportunity to access the oil and gas reserves of West Asia. Plus, the green hydrogen pipeline is also in the picture. Plus, the IMEC, India, Middle East, European Economic Corridor is also crucial. So for India, connectivity with Iran is a very important initiative through the Chabahar port. But things went problematic when in 2018, America imposed sanctions on Iran, sanctions on Chabahar port. It said India cannot have any negotiations with Iran regarding the Chabahar port at all. Just like US threatened us now to stop importing oil from Russia, similarly in 2018, the Trump administration imposed heavy restrictions, heavy sanctions on Iran. That led to a derailing of the project. Okay? Now, because of that, the project was derailed for a long time. But today, the US has given India a permission of at least 6 months. So for another 6 months, no sanction, no problem, and India can continue to deal with Iran through the Chabahar port. Now remember, it's also very, very important for Afghanistan, a Taliban-led country which is in economic crisis. And India recently has also committed to support Afghanistan. We spoke about the Shehtoot Dam, the Kabul River Dam. Similarly, India is investing in Afghanistan for a very long time now. Long time, since 2019 itself, 2015 itself. But today, it is stepping up that investment. Education, sanitation, training, agriculture. So for Afghanistan also, the Chabahar connectivity is very important because that leads to essential supplies to Afghanistan. So quite an important development here, that a 6 months permission, a 6 months relaxation will be great because India can now resume all its negotiation and all its dealings in the Chabahar port area. Okay. Now, the next article is about how we are celebrating the Rashtra Ekta Divas today, the National Unity Day. And why are we doing that today? Because we are celebrating the birth anniversary of India's first Home Minister, India's first Deputy Prime Minister, yes, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, also called as the Iron Man of India, okay, who is also known for have integrated 560 princely states after independence in 1947, and he is therefore credited for giving India its modern sovereign structure that it stands today. So he was the one who pursued difficult projects like integrating the state of Junagadh, Hyderabad, Jammu, Kashmir, which were very uncertain and they could have slipped away from India. But he was the one who integrated all of that. So from 2014, the Indian government took this decision to commemorate and celebrate Sardar Patel's birth anniversary as the National Unity Day. Across schools, civil organizations, citizens, to celebrate his contributions, to celebrate his spirit of integrating India into one. Now on that note, do you know during which movement was he given the title Sardar? And who gave him the title Sardar? Yes, it was Mahatma Gandhi who gave Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel the title of Sardar. But during which event was that given? So let's also quickly, you can answer me that question. You can think about it. Now also remember the 150th birth anniversary of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel is also being celebrated this year with special programs like Ekta Nagar. At Ekta Nagar, near the 182-meter tall Statue of Unity, just to celebrate Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's legacy. Okay, so quickly the question. With reference to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, consider the following statements. One is, the title Sardar was given to him by Mahatma Gandhi for leadership during Bardoli Satyagraha, 1928. Two, he played a key role in integration of princely states into the Indian Union after independence as India's first Home Minister. And three, he presided over the Karachi session of the Indian National Congress in 1931, where fundamental right resolution was imposed. Slightly tricky. Please answer and let me know, and I'll clarify it later. Now, one of the last news is about Israel. Israel has openly, once again, created a setback, a shock for the peace process. The US brokered 20-point peace program between Israel and Palestine that was concluded during the Sharm el-Sheikh summit in Egypt is now completely helter-skelter. It's gone for a toss because Israel continues to strike Gaza and tell its military to continue operations and this was seen as one of the most dangerous nights in the region ever since the peace process started. So, too many bombings and too many attacks kept on happening in Gaza from Israel. The military also said it has carried out a precision strike in the Gaza region, and it did so because it felt a terrorist attack may happen. So now already the situation has become so grim that there were people who were killed yesterday also. 104 people total died, and Israeli military says that we are doing this to prevent any future terror attack. But it is a shock for mediators. Mediators like US and Qatar. They said that at least Israel will respect the ceasefire for some time. But today the situation is such that there is no such respect, and even United Nations chief has expressed a lot of sympathy and a lot of disappointment over this development. So that's it for today's news, and tomorrow I will come with a more interactive session with you where you and I will have lots of discussion. These are the answers here, and a quick reminder about the sale. Why? Because today is the last day, today being 31st October 25. So for those who are writing the exam next year in 2026, please take this as the last opportunity of such kind, where at 7,499 you are getting all GS courses, all of them, including discount on the optionals, current affairs, essay writing, CSAT, all of that. Just at 7,499, can you imagine? So please spread the word around that you can use code SPLIVE, SP Live, for enrolling in the course. Similarly, for those who are writing in 26 and 27, very attractive offers. Entire GS course available, GSP 21 course. Already the October batch is about to start. Sale ending today, 31st October. Use code SPLIVE and pay rupees 8999 for 1 year plus mentorship. And then for 28 also. Hindi, English, bilingual, whichever way you want to study, all GS topics, all CSAT, all writing, all current affairs, answer writing guidance, which means nothing for you to worry about UPSC anymore when you have a mentor to guide you. The best of faculties to help you. And that's the idea behind the 2028 sale at 32,999, more than 1 year of aggressive guidance, help, outright mentorship. So if anybody is interested, if you are willing, here's the code SPLIVE. Do type and take advantage of the sale today. On the other hand, if you want more clarification, fill up a form in the description box of this video. We will reach out to you. Thank you so much.